Hey everybody, my name is MetalMusicMan.
And I'm Professor Lex.
And this is episode 46 of the Metal and Lex podcast. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is
Air
Sunday?
horns. It's Sunday, yeah. We let the team down. We were going to do it on Friday, except then we didn't. And then we were going to do it on Saturday, except Will was sick. And then, anyway, we're doing it now.
I had a horrible disease. It was awful. I'm so glad to be alive. I got the proper medicine. And now
the proper medicine, water, just an excessive amount of water and greasy food. It was just
a lot of water and pancakes. Yeah, just a lot of water and pancakes.
You did the pancakes. Man. You need something to absorb the
pancakes
the
and a chorizo rancher omelet thing.
There you go.
Yeah,
there's
just all
there.
greasy, spicy. Yeah, sometimes science has declared that those do clear illnesses. So
they absorb the bad humors which you brought into your body somehow. through some manner of behavior the night before.
Yeah, as long as you eat that and you use your leeches properly, get rid of the bad bloods, then you're always going to be good. So yeah, it's Sunday. We haven't done a Sunday podcast in a very long time.
It's true.
We've been pretty much we had been all Fridays, and then we kind of started. We've been slipping over to Saturday mornings.
Shifted to Saturday,
which I haven't been minding. No. But yeah, we haven't been quite off for this. So what we're going to talk about today is apparently the talk of the internet. We have several mini topics today. We don't really have a singular big one, but the mini one is these Resident Evil ladies is what Alex wants to talk to me about.
Well, yeah. Well, okay, so I've got this debate going with Jeff and Susie, and I brought Jen into it, and when I was streaming yesterday, Talden came by and he asked us to weigh in on the matter. So I really do feel like the internet needs to know whether Lady Dimitrescu and her daughters are hot. Okay,
so first of all, is this a new Resident Evil game?
Resident Evil 8 or Village, imagine if you will, the V, the I, and two of the L's make the Roman numerals 8. Resident Evil Village is the latest entry to the series. There's a demo out now. The game comes out, I want to say like May 7th or something.
Okay, it's a demo. So I have seen on my Twitter timeline, I've seen two ladies. So one is like a bloody mouthed vampire thing.
That's one of the daughters, yeah.
Okay, that chick is hot. That chick is super fucking hot.
I'm not gonna say super fucking hot.
No, that chick is super fucking hot.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, no, that chick is super fucking hot. Break me, zombie mommy. So that chick can get it 100%. The other one is a big, thick
tall
lady who's really tall in a hat, and I feel like I'm building up to this, and it sounds like I'm going to say she's not hot, but she is hot, but she's not as hot as the other one. The other one's hotter.
Sure.
The other one's hotter. But I could get down with. But I mean, how could you not? Are
you just looking at like the still images? Is that all that you've based this on?
Yeah, all I've seen is still images from tweets and things.
So Lady Dimitrescu is the lady of the house Dimitrescu, I think.
That sounds like it keeps up with why her name would be that. So I think you've got to be right. You've got to be going.
I'm assuming. She is. Do you know Nemesis?
Like, do you mean the final Star Trek TNG movie with?
No, I don't. No.
What the fuck is his name? He plays Bane. Nobody knows this. What the fuck is that guy's name? I can't remember his name.
It's not Tom Holland. It's a name that sounds like that.
Tom.
Is it Tom?
Tom.
Brady.
I think it is a Tom H. Tom Hardy?
Hardy.
Tom Hardy.
It's not close. Ed Hardy. It's Tom Hardy.
So Tom Hardy plays Patrick Stewart's clone in a Star Trek TNG movie called Nemesis that was almost good. And it was the last movie of the TNG franchise. Anyway, so I know all about it. Please continue. What do you want to talk about with Star Trek today, Alex?
Nemesis is a 7-foot tall zombie.
Oh yes, yes, I do know that guy as well. Yes, from Marvel and other games that aren't Marvel. Yes.
Resident Evil specifically would be those other games. But at any rate, he's 7 feet tall and very tall and imposing and scary and spooky.
Is he like WWE 7 feet tall, or is he really 7 feet tall? Like, is he 6'4" and they say he's 7 feet tall, or is he?
I think he's 7'4".
He's really okay. Oh wow, all right, that's a big boy. Okay, he's a spooky boy.
He's a big spooky boy, and he chases in Resident Evil 2 and the Resident Evil 2 remake. He chases Jill all over town. Jill, also hot. He chases Jill all over town, and then eventually he turns into a big goopy monster, and you blow him up with a railgun. It's cool. Lady Dimitrescu is 8 foot some odd.
What?
So she's taller than Nemesis.
That's a tall lady.
She's very tall.
Does she have a rocket launcher?
No, but her hands have her fingers are long and blade-like. Occasionally, she can pull it out like
her
Wolverine.
Fingers or her like fingernails.
I think it's fingernails, but the lighting is dark in the scene where I just haven't looked close enough. It's probably fingernails. She's got like Freddy Krueger fingernails.
Sure.
And she is stealing your daughter. Shit.
He's stealing your daughter.
Nothing is good for sounding.
Who has daughter?
In this instance, you are Ethan Winters, the wholly unlikable, unremarkable protagonist from Resident Evil 7. Resident Evil 7 is a pretty good game. They tried to reinvent the franchise by getting rid of they got rid of the fixed camera angles when we went to Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 5 and 6 were multiplayer. The big thing that they decided they needed to do differently was that Resident Evil 7's in first person. It kind of works for it. They go through most of the plot beats of it being a Resident Evil game about right. I've got some gripes, but my biggest and only relevant gripe here is Ethan Winters, who is just this wholly unlikable nothing protagonist. And anyway, they steal your daughter because apparently you had one while no one was looking between Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil 8. And now you're off to get her, which brings me back to the tall lady. The fact that she's 8 feet tall and that she stole your child harkens to Japanese folklore monster called Hachishaku-sama, who is the literal, it translates about to 8 foot tall lady.
Directly, Hachikachi Kuchi Mama translates
Hachishaku-sama.
Hachikachi Kuchi Mama, got it. Translates to 8 foot tall lady. That's
more or less, yeah.
Okay.
And in the folklore, she wears a white dress. She's got a large, wide-brimmed hat, and she steals children. And anyway, the internet was horny for her long before it was horny for this new modern day.
They were always horny
incarnation.
For her, so it stands to reason. Do you know what I hate about you, Alex? You ruin everything by comparing it to another thing that already existed. So nothing is ever original. You're like, actually, in the 1400s, a guy wrote it, and everything about this thing that you like, it's actually just this other thing. You're a bastard.
I'm sorry.
Why do you do so much research, you fucking asshole? Stop
It's interesting. I was like, damn, where have I seen this tall lady that everyone's horny for before? The answer is, Japan.
Oh, yeah. Excuse me.
Well,
okay.
That too. Okay, so as far as my inclinations here go, the daughter's hot.
Sure.
In the trailer, the tall hatted lady is like Ethan Winters, and then she's talking about how she stole your kid or whatever, and then her daughters are like, we're gonna eat you because you've got man blood.
Man blood?
Man blood. They call you man blood. They use that specific phrase, man blood, in English. There's no translation here. I can't. There's no lore. There's no deep dive to be done. That
sounds dumb, but anyway.
Yeah. So there's a scene where they're like dragging you away, and they're like, "We haven't had man blood in a while." That's pretty hot.
Are they specifically like doing eating things because they're men? Is that part of a thing, or is it just like a dumb line that they say because it's cool? Because that's kind of what it seems like to me. So it's a dumb line
I'm
that
not
they
sure.
say that's cool and it doesn't really have anything to do with anything. That seems
you can't say that because the game hasn't even come out for you to fairly judge yet. Somehow I doubt you're gonna play it.
Yeah, but see, what you don't know, Alex, is that nothing you have just said will stop me from judging anything ever under any circumstance.
Prejudging.
So, indeed.
Prejudice.
I'm confident in my ability to prejudice things.
Isn't that always the trouble?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I still don't think I want to play a Resident Evil game, but hot chicks always help.
You might try 7. You might like it.
Maybe. If it's first person, it might like it a little more, just because you said, the camera angles won't be as big of a problem. But I don't know. Is this game? This is what is this? A PS5 game?
You can. The new one. Yeah, it's on PS5. I think it did get announced for PC.
They usually are, if memory serves. They're usually cross-platform.
PS4, Xbox One. They're also going to have ports. They probably won't look as good. But I don't know. I don't know how good the 8-foot tall lady has to be for me to consider her hot.
How good she has to be?
How good she has to look. I don't think that it's going to make any difference if I play it on PS4 versus PS5.
Man, I don't know. I mean, there's definitely... Oh, man. I can remember some video game characters that I thought were hot back in a day when nothing... like, when you look back, it just...
When they were like six polygons.
They were
and
2
one of
polygons,
them was a hexagon,
and the only way you knew they had boobs is there was text that told you that they did. Like, I remember... The fucking elf chick in Ocarina of Time. I remember when I first played that game.
The fucking elf.
What's her name? Is it Syra or something like that?
The Saria.
Saria, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember being like, oh yeah, Saria, it's hot. And then like I remember replaying that game like X number of years later, you know, and being like, how in the fuck? Like how or like I remember when there was all the old like Lara Croft quote unquote like nude leaks or whatever that happened in EGM. And I remember like they had like the boob code, and it's just like, oh man, I gotta get this boob code. I'm so fucking hyped. And yeah, looking back, dude, it's like 2 polygons. Like
yeah. I think
it's amazing how our brains are like trained to like, if it looks like X enough like a woman,
interpret
it look like a woman. And like I think it's hot. You know, like there's just something about that.
Lara Croft had big pyramid boobs.
Yeah,
it was highly distressing. Like at least Tifa from Final Fantasy VII had like roughly round, maybe octagonal, but like reasonably round.
See, this is how I know though that it matters. This is how I know that it matters if you played it at the right time, because I never played Final Fantasy, and I remember everybody being like, "Oh, Tifa," and then there's all the like Final Fantasy remake shit, and I'm like, "Damn, Tifa is hot as fuck." And then I saw what she looked like in the original game, and she looks like a fucking Lego.
Hot as shit.
She looks like a Lego. She looks like a goddamn Lego.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, how the fuck did anybody think that was hot? But I guess had I played it at that age, apparently I'd be like, oh yeah, Lego bitch can get it. Like
there's the scene like right in the first half hour of the game. You do the intro bombing mission, and then you go back to Seventh Heaven, Tifa's bar, and like rest up for the night. And there's a dialogue prompt where Tifa says, "So Cloud, did you sleep well?" And your options are either like, "Yeah, whatever," or "Next to you, who wouldn't?" And it's like, what
is Cloud that suave? Is that in character? Cloud is suave.
He's not suave. Is he canonically? I feel like he would have said, "Yeah, whatever."
When I look at Cloud, I've never played Final Fantasy, but when I look at him from Smash and when I look at like pictures of him and everything I know about him, I just imagine he has the most like stupid buffoon personality of all time. Like he never says anything, and he just like comes out of nowhere and he's like, "Oh yeah, totally." Like he's just like a weird surfer, and he has no intellect.
No, that's not quite.
That is his character. Look, Alex, I know this based on looking at him and never having
seen him in a different game.
Yes, yeah. I know this. Maybe that's also based on people who play Cloud in Smash Brothers. Maybe that also.
Wow. Maybe that also, Are you calling Pharaoh a surfer?
Yeah. Maybe it's just the way Cloud players play that has imparted that personality upon me. Like, yeah, I'm gonna like back air you, and then I think I might back air you after that. Oh, my recovery's so bad. Why is this so bad? Anyway, back air. So yeah, that's basically Cloud's personality as far as I can tell. So.
Views and beliefs expressed by one co-host do not express the thoughts and feelings of the show at large.
You're just throwing me to the sharks that are Cloud fans.
Pharaoh, yeah,
that are Pharaoh. Yes.
Dude, I'm not trying to get fucked up by Final Fantasy fans. They are insane. Speaking as a Final Fantasy fan, I do not want to make any enemies.
Super duper crazy, huh?
Yeah.
Let's talk about shows too, actually, because I know you've been watching that WandaVision. Without too many spoilers, good. Tell us why we should watch it, because it looks to me like a show I would never want to watch, from what I can tell. It looks absolutely stupid. Like I don't understand the appeal of what it is. It's very confusing.
Okay. I'll try and do this without spoiling it for anybody. So, you know the show that you're afraid that it is?
Sure.
it knows the show that you are afraid that it is, and it is not that. It is presenting as though it is that, but successfully subverting it. So for those who haven't been on Twitter to have their timeline bombarded with ads for WandaVision, it presents itself as,
and they really do bombard the shit out of you with those fucking ads.
It's like, I'm gonna fucking watch. Is there a button that I can click on Twitter to tell it I'm gonna watch it? Please leave me alone.
I think you can only say I don't like this ad. I've seen it too many times. You're like, no, I do like it. It succeeded.
No, I do.
Wait, marketing baby, tell me, please.
So for those of you who haven't been on Twitter, it keeps showing clips and snippets of what appear to be 10 different sitcoms starring Marvel's Wanda, Scarlet Witch, and the Vision, where they're like I Love Lucy, or maybe they're the Brady Bunch or
Very
whatever.
Weird. So weird.
Very bizarre, and that's what's so fun about the show. We were talking about the Uncanny Valley. This is that. It presents sitcoms through the lens of the Uncanny Valley using Marvel superhero characters. It is a lot darker and a lot more distressing than you would ever get from any of those ads.
I like those words. I like depressing, stressing, awful things.
It's scary in like the tail end of the first episode, without actually ruining anything for anybody. It forces you to sit there and be like, holy shit, am I watching a sitcom? Sitcoms aren't like this. What have I done? And like, we're up to episode 3 now. I just watched it before we started podcasting. It's good. They almost answered a question of what the fuck is happening here. Like, I feel like I've got an idea of what's happening now, or at least more than I did a week ago.
If you keep watching it and it isn't awful, I might check it out. But I really hate watching shows in order like that. It's the fucking, like, as they're released. I hate that.
Watching shows and
that weekly release.
You just wait until it all comes out.
Just release the whole thing, you fucking fucks. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, seriously.
I hate it. So
what
much.
the fuck?
It's 2021. I don't have time to wait every week for an episode. Like, no.
Netflix invented it. Netflix invented just watch everything at once.
Just watch
fucking
it, bro.
Disney Plus is back out here doing this shit. Hulu has always been doing that. And then like Netflix is like, oh, let's do Great British Baking Show an episode at a time. Fuck you.
I don't understand.
Fuck that.
Yeah, it's very. I hate it. Speaking of Netflix, I've been watching. This isn't really that great of a show, but have you seen that Disenchantment thing for Matt Groening?
Yes, I'm 1 episode in. I think.
Of just the whole thing.
No, of the latest season. Yeah.
So yeah, that show's really cool. What I like about it is that it like has weird, actually dramatic, non-funny, serious stuff that crops up every now and then that I think is really good. What I hate about it is that they don't ever earn any beats. Like ever.
It's almost like they don't have the time to earn it, which
it feels
is
like,
bad.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like, I feel like I like all the stuff that it does, but then it just like, it's like, oh, this cool thing that we did, it's not a thing anymore because reasons. And like some of it is like, ha, we're in a magic whatever fairyland, and so I'll give them some of that. And also it's generally a comedy, so it's fine. But they keep going back to like these same beats that they've done. And every time they go back and do it, I'm like, wow, they did a really good job. And I'm like, this time, this season, this episode, there are going to be like some actual consequences or something's going to happen. And then it never does. Everything just like goes back to normal. And I don't know how many more seasons of that I have in me, but I do enjoy the show. It just bothers me because I feel like it could be, I feel like this is one of those shows that like, it actually could be really good. If it had started, they do like a turn at the end of season 1 where you think, oh shit, is this show actually very serious? And I was like, oh, that's awesome. They've done like all this goofy buildup, and then it's going to get like really fucking depressing at some point.
It's going to stay serious for the rest of the show. And that's
amazing, but then they don't. They're just like, and then they just go back. And so then like every season is basically like a rehash of the same fucking arc so far. They're all good arcs. It's all really fun to watch, but like, it's just like, it's a little frustrating that I feel like it could actually have been something cool. And I presume that Matt Groening was just like, no, I'm going to be funny and draw stupid stuff because I'm me and there won't be actually anything. It'll just be a weird episodic thing every time. I don't know.
No, it's definitely got that 30-minute. The biggest drawback to the show is that it's got the 30-minute. Everything has to slot back into place the way it was.
Yeah, every fucking time, dude.
Yep, and like it's frustrating because every season you think this is the season where things are going to be different. This time they're going to have consequences and things are going to occur after and because, and it never does.
Yeah, there's a
the season ends.
there's like a scene. Well, there's like a whole episode. I don't want to spoil anything because you're not into it. But there's a whole episode where a thing happens with a character, and it's like pretty cool and good and not something I expected them to do. And I was like, oh wow, this is awesome. And then at the end, they're just like, oh, it was just a dream. None of that really happened. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck, dude? And then invariably, the thing that double, triple pissed me off is after they do the thing where they're like, it was just a dream. Nothing really happened. They do the fucking double down trope where they're like, here's a little thing that we'll show in the very last shot that's like, ooh, maybe it wasn't after all that dream. Episode ends. I wanted to fucking punch my television because it was legitimately like a good episode up to that point. And then they were just like, but we can't have anything be permanent. It's like you said, like everything has to slot back into place. And like, I don't understand why, because it's not a show that's on like primetime television. It's a fucking Netflix show where they know people watch serial television, where they release it all at once. Where like, so why this is to me is like, it's like Matt Groening's in a room and nobody told him while they're doing the writing that he isn't on cable in 1992 anymore. So like, he's just fucking needs to like set everything back every fucking episode. So I don't know that show. I really like that show, but it really frustrates me.
I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. I do appreciate the sort of levity that it has, the ability to not take itself so seriously, because they'll have some like big serious implication and be able to then have a joke. Mm-hmm. I like that. I like that feeling of whiplash of going from, oh, holy shit, let me be super invested and furrow my brow at the events occurring on screen, and then be taken back by like some stupid sight gag.
Well, I think that is what
I like that whiplash.
Yeah, what he's specifically good at from like the production or writing or whatever standpoint. Yeah, is like the constant back and forth of it. I think that it's very good with the pacing, but yeah, it's just like I think it feels I don't know why I expected it. I should have known from that dude, because like I'm not the biggest Futurama fan. Like, I mean, I don't dislike it, but I just haven't really watched that much of it. I mean, everybody's seen The Simpsons. I have seen a few episodes of Futurama. I have liked them all, but I felt the same way about Futurama for the most part as I do about this show. And I know everybody always talks about how good it is, and I do understand there are some very good episodes of Futurama, but I feel like it's the same kind of shit where they're just like, oh, we did this weird adventure thing, and now like we're back on a fucking spaceship. And that really annoys me. It just annoys me that they need to be... It's like they're afraid. It's like they're afraid of taking risks, and they're little fucking bitches in their writer room. And they're like, oh, God forbid any episode starts off with anything different other than the exact same like scenario that we're in every fucking time.
Do you remember the Angry Beavers?
I love Angry Beavers.
Okay. The writers were told by Nickelodeon that they were not under any circumstances allowed to have a progressing story.
Interesting.
Yeah. And it's because they wanted to be able to play reruns on the network at any given moment. And that's exactly what happens with Futurama. And I think that that's part of why it had to be written like that.
So, but again, that you could watch the episodes in almost sense because it was a syndicated like TV whatever thing. Why is he still doing that with Disenchantment? I don't get it.
I don't know.
I don't get it.
I feel like this would have been an excellent opportunity for him to grow as a storyteller. And and I feel like we could still get that whiplash.
Maybe he will. Maybe they'll finally get. I don't know. We'll see.
I can't wait to be wrong about that.
Yeah, I feel like we're
right.
I feel like we're definitely gonna look like fools.
When he blows us away with the gripping 5th season.
He's gotten so close to it so many times. There's no way it's gonna happen though. I have no faith. Anyway, so I don't know. That's shows. Unless you have any other shows you're showing with shows.
I'm watching S.H.I.E.L.D. with Jen.
Is that the Agents of thing?
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah, it's
seen
good.
It has J. August Richards in it.
Yeah,
that's cool. He's cool.
Yeah, I like him.
Good people.
It's good.
Is it still?
I can't really. No, it ended last year.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
I can't really recommend anyone watch it, but I like it a lot.
That's how I feel about Boardwalk Empire. I liked the show. There's a lot of really good shit in that show. There is there are at least 2, if not maybe 3 or 4 performances that are like some of the highlights of those actors' careers. And then it's just one of those shows that like it's just like it just zooms out. Like they don't know where they're going with it by the end. They build up to some shit. Everything is fucking awful. Everything's dissatisfying. I mean, it's no Game of Thrones. Don't get me wrong. It's not like that awful, but it's pretty bad. Like by the end of it, it's just like disappointing. You're just like, why? You were doing so many good things. I don't understand what happened. Like shit. The more I think about it, there's probably like 4 or 5 actors that have like the performances of their career in that show, and they're really, really good. And the first like 2 or 3 seasons are super fucking solid. But yeah, it just, I don't know. I've never written a show, but I don't understand why people don't have any idea where they're going, and then they get afraid to go in a natural direction. Like, I think this is the theme of our podcast. We didn't intend this, but I think that is like, because the more I'm thinking about this is just the thing that annoys me with so many shows. It's like, they get going to a thing, they're like, oh yeah, this is great, and then they just like, they get scared, or they don't know what to do with a character, and I don't know. I think it's really frustrating because a lot of times it's very clear that a character is like growing. The character's growing and it's becoming something different. And they like try very hard to write the character back into a stupid tiny box.
They were.
Yeah. And that's just immensely dissatisfying because the whole point of watching it is that like things do change and become, or they evolve. Right. And so like, I'm not saying like every character needs to like, you know, sometimes character growth, quote unquote, is the character facing a scenario and like realizing like a thing and then doubling down. That can be good too. They don't have to grow and change. They can just experience things and make decisions. But a lot of the time, those decisions don't feel authentic with some of these shows. And they just like, it's like they feel the need to keep them in a box because of blah. Or they just do the stupid like fucking Boardwalk Empire specifically. There's a character that's really cool. And he's like one of the coolest. He's like a somewhat newer character they put in. He like comes in like a couple seasons in and he starts becoming like a main character and you're like, this is awesome. And then like the beginning of one of the seasons, it's just like, he's just like tootling around and then he just like, gets shot in the face randomly and dies. And he's just gone.
Oh, there you go.
And you're just like, and it's not the good kind of death where it's like,
returned to nothing.
Where it's like, oh man, anyone could die at any moment. Shit's fucking crazy. It's not that. It's just like, they clearly either like didn't want to hire the dude for another season or they just fucking got bored of writing his shit or like some contract dispute and then they're like, oh, he's just fucking dead. And you're just like,
he got shot in the face. You don't have to worry about him anymore.
Like, really? Yeah. So I don't know, dude. Fucking show writers piss me off sometimes, man.
That is not the problem with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay.
Originally, the show was conceived as a means of tying the greater Marvel Cinematic Universe together.
Okay.
So like, they had an episode right before a Thor movie came out. My cat is in the microphone.
Isaac is just running in front of the...
Sorry. They had an episode right before a Thor movie came out, or like right after Thor came out, and then
Thor 1?
Thor 2, I think. And they like go to the site of the movie and then clean up after the mess, which is like really cool to me because it was a common thread that tied all of it together.
Yeah.
The problem is that the Marvel Cinematic Universe got kind of fucked up for a while because they weren't allowed to use the word mutant because they didn't own the property.
I still hate that. That is so fucked with like Scarlet Witch and all that. Yeah, it could have. Can you imagine how much cooler that shit would have been if mutants?
If Magneto had rolled out, yeah.
Man, yeah.
But then they were going to do like a handful of other shows. There was going to be a Ghost Rider show, so they introduced Ghost Rider in S.H.I.E.L.D. And then like the Ghost Rider plan fell through. So they like write him out of the show, or they had characters that like were supposed to get their own spin-off series. So they say, all right, they're changing their names. They're fleeing the country. And then like their show didn't get picked up. So they just got written out of the show for nothing. Yeah. So I think that's probably the biggest problem. And then there was the Thanos snap. Which happened in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they couldn't figure out quite how to do that in S.H.I.E.L.D. So,
what do you mean how to do it? Like the effect sucked, or that they just didn't do it?
No, as I understand, they address the issue of the Thanos snap. I actually stopped watching the first time through because I before I could get to the Thanos snap. So I don't know how they did it. And I haven't looked it up because I'm watching it through with Jen right now.
Okay.
But they didn't, as I understand it, they don't get snapped, which is hard And since
none
half
of
of the
them.
population
None of
birth is
them,
supposed
just
to be
conveniently. Like there is no. Okay. Yeah.
conveniently or inconveniently. Yeah, I'll come back to you guys when I've finished the show, and I'll tell you how they managed to get out of that crazy scenario. But
interesting.
But it's because they were pulled in so many different legal directions behind the scenes. The actual characters on the screen got pulled in so many different directions. It got kind of irritating to watch. That's why you shouldn't watch Shield, but it's a good show.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I have enough faith in that show to check it out, but maybe if I'm bored
I'm
enough.
not telling you to.
Yeah.
You're safe.
I'm safe.
There's other shows you should watch. Fucking watch Ozark.
Everybody tells me to watch Ozark, dude.
Yeah, and everyone's right.
Okay.
Watch Ozark.
All right. One of these days I'll check it out. It's on Netflix, right?
Yep. Yeah. Netflix original.
One of these days I'll check it out. Is it done? Is it still going?
There's one more season, and that's the final season.
That'll be the last one.
Okay. It's nice because you can feel that it is progressing towards an end point. I hate a show that runs on forever. I hate a show that's afraid to end.
Yeah. Yes. Well, and then they always end up ending like too fast, and it's not satisfying.
Yeah, because they get canceled. Yeah, rather than writing themselves off when it was a gracious time to do that thing.
Yeah. That's the way. That's definitely the way to be. I think I've talked about previously on this podcast about how DS9 does a very good job of that, where it this is
the Black People in Space episode.
Space 9. Yeah, Black People in Space. I think one of our better episodes, personally.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, they do that really well, where they clearly know like several seasons, like probably at least 3, maybe even 4 seasons ahead of time. They know exactly like kind of where they're going. What I didn't know last time we talked about it, that I just found out that's really interesting to me, is that so there's this dude named Rick Berman who was like the main showrunner for TNG, DS9, and Voyager, which is all of the real Star Trek, in my opinion.
You don't count that new show, the animated show on PBS or
I have
CBS or
heard good things about it. I have heard that it has some good TNG nostalgia callback shit. All I can say, and if I'm wrong, please sound off in the comments, but I am terrified to watch it based on nothing more than the animation style. I don't know what to say other than irreverent. Like, yes, that animation style is offensive. For like, if that was Angry Beavers or some shit, fine. It's not. It's supposed to be Star Trek, and I'm supposed to take it seriously when they're fucking making poopy fart jokes with that weird bug-eyed shitty animation. I don't know if I'm game, but I will, I think, give it a try. I actually have, as you mentioned, that I have the tab pulled up in my browser, like right now, like from last night. I was like, maybe I'll watch it.
You gotta watch. You gotta tell us next week.
I'm
you don't
really
have to watch the whole thing.
I don't. You don't understand how much I love this IP, and I'm so scared. I'm so hurt from Discovery. Before. Discovery is the worst thing that ever happened. Picard could have been so amazing. And then it was kind of good, and then it was so bad. Alex,
I watched the Death Note Netflix original movie.
I've only heard awful things about that.
Let me tell you 1 to 2 good things about the Netflix original Death Note movie. Death Note, the original anime and manga. I read it. I've watched it. Phenomenal, gripping. A fantastic game of cat and mouse, so wonderful, and it ends perfectly. The Netflix movie is none of those things. It's awful, but Willem Dafoe makes a remarkable spooky god of death.
How could Willem Dafoe not be good? I mean, honestly,
right?
He's good even when he's bad. Sometimes better.
He's good in this one. He's not bad good. He's good. Yeah. And Lakeith Stanfield. Okay, so L is Lakeith Stanfield plays L. L is the cat or mouse in the cat and mouse game with the main character.
Is Lakeith Stanfield the one guy who is the guy in Get Out and all the other stuff?
Yep. That's him.
That guy. Okay.
Sorry to bother you. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought. Okay. Go on.
You'll note that Lakeith Stanfield is quite black and not at all white or Asian guy like Elle is or could be, probably. Anyway, the point is a lot of fans were upset because they like blackwashed him or made him an American when he should have been not American or whatever. Lakeith Stanfield's the best part of that movie. If there were an Elle movie, I would watch it and tell everyone. I mean,
that dude's good in everything. What I actually
everything
he's an amazing actor. Just period. What I actually watched recently that I didn't even realize he was in the first time I watched it because I didn't know who the fuck he was. Is the I forget what it's even called, but the Edward Snowden movie with Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
I didn't see that.
Called Snowden. It's just called Snowden.
I think that's it.
It's a decent movie. Lakeith Stanfield is in it, and he has like a small but very important role with some like he doesn't have a lot of dialogue, but he has some like very particular like facial reactions and like you know what I mean. Like so his he's an incredible actor. Okay, before I get back to DS9 to finish that off though, I do have to at least say so. Yeah, if you give a shit about knowing anything about Edward Snowden, I do think Snowden is a pretty solid movie, but really all that movie is a beat for beat reshoot of the documentary Citizen 4. So instead of watching Snowden, what you should do is watch the documentary Citizen 4, which is actually all the things that happened. Snowden is literally recorded by a documentary crew as he does all of the things that he did. This is like in real life. Very good. And so all Snowden does is just take each little clip of that where he's in the hotel and they just reshoot it with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. That's the entire movie. That's the whole fucking movie.
And Lakeith Stanfield shows
up. Yeah, and they just like they have like some little dramatized interspersings with like his girlfriend or people at his work, but like probably 75% of the movie is just reshoots of that fucking documentary. So anyway, watch Citizen 4. So DS9. So what I was getting at is so there's this guy named Rick Berman. He's apparently like a weird asshole who's like kind of misogynistic or something. And there were issues with him. So like, this is like, I'm putting down some backstory here. I think I maybe mentioned this a little bit, but like basically there's an actress in TNG who plays Beverly Crusher, who's the doctor, who also choreographed all of the dancing for the Labyrinth, which is one of my favorite facts of all time.
With David Bowie?
Yep.
No
that
shit.
Actress,
okay.
I can't remember her name right now for some reason, which is bothering me greatly. Gates McFadden. There it is. Gates McFadden. So she is known as in canon, in universe, in TNG as the dancing doctor because her character is good at dancing just because people wanted to give her shit about being like an actual dancing person in real life and doing choreography with Muppets on the Labyrinth. Also, I think the Dark Crystal, actually. I think she worked on both of them. I wouldn't swear to that though. It might be one or the other, but I think it's Labyrinth. It might also be Dark Crystal. Anyway, not important. So she leaves in season 2, and they get a new doctor named Dr. Pulaski, who is the actress is good, the character's good. The character isn't as good as Beverly Crusher, but the character's pretty good. It gets a lot of shit because it isn't Beverly Crusher, which is a whole thing that makes sense. But anyway, the reason this is relevant is everyone was like, "Why the fuck did she leave?" And then like years later, there's another character in DS9 that's the same way, where she's one of the best characters in the entire show, and then inexplicably
vanishes.
The character just disappears. We'll say disappears, and is replaced by another character. And you're like, what the fuck is that about? And it was written at the time where it was like, oh, she like wanted to go be a model or act in movies or do some shit, whatever. And then like, fast forward more years later, it turns out apparently this Rick Berman dude is a douche, and both of them had problems with it. And the actress in DS9, there was like a reunion, and I remember there's this really awkward moment where everybody's like, they just slightly bring it up, and she just starts like losing her shit and like crying, and she's like, you don't fucking know what was happening. And I'm like, oh my god, this is so awkward. So basically everybody thinks this Rick Berman dude is a fucking asshole. So how this relates to everything else we were talking about, if I can get to that point now that I have a million contexts out of the way, is that apparently that guy, in addition to all of that, was also a douchebag in the sense that he did not want them to make he pulled an Angry Beavers on the show. He pulled an Angry Beavers on the show, and he was like, DS9 under no circumstances can have like an ongoing continuing storyline. And I have said on this show specifically that DS9 is one of the first proper serialized shows. And it is actually like the grandfather of like Game of Thrones and shit. Like nobody was doing that before DS9 was doing it. And what I recently learned is that apparently by about season like 2.5 or 3, that Rick Berman guy was like, I'm going to go make Voyager. No matter what you do, don't fucking weave any continuing storylines.
Don't make it. Don't you dare.
And so, like, Ira Bear and these other guys just like sneakily started weaving this shit in. And then, so there's this whole article I was reading the other day that was cracking me up, where the main plot element, the main big one, is the Dominion War, which is like this big war with like this whole other faction, and it ties all these other factions in, all this crazy shit happens. And so basically, they wrote like episodic episodes that like very slowly and sneakily trapped everyone in the writer's room into this. So like basically the whole reason that even happened, it's not even like that they were genius enough just to write a really good one. They were like double, triple genius enough to do it in this without subtle way. Noticing. Yeah, before it was like too late. And so then apparently this Rick Berman guy comes back. He's like, what the fuck's going on here? And they're like, I don't know, nothing, kid. Sorry, we didn't really realize that was happening. And he's just like, oh, fine. God damn it. And like, that's how that show became a thing. So like they sneakily evaded the Angry Beavers ensnarement, I suppose, as it were, in the best way possible.
The way that the Angry Beavers resolved that is that the final episode of the Angry Beavers is just like a fourth wall breaking. Fuck this.
I remember it being so cool and weird. That
was the artist. That was the writers being upset.
That show was awesome. That show was so fucking awesome.
Groundbreaking. It was Deep Space Nine or Voyager or whatever you were talking about before those movies or TV shows or whatever.
Remember, dude, the one where they fucking grow their teeth out and they got like fucking pimp canes
and
shit. And they're like, oh my god. Oh my god. Angry Beavers is the fucking shit. Well, I feel like we were going to talk about Grand Blue, but we've pretty much filled like an entire episode about shows. So unless you want to do 20 minutes of
no.
I think we're pretty solid on this one.
It's a TV episode with a slight cameo by hot Resident Evil ladies.
Yeah, that works for me.
That's good. That's good.
So yeah, I don't know. This will probably unless you got some other stuff. I think we're pretty concluded here. We're about 40 minutes in, and I got.
That's good.
I sadly do have things on my schedule today that.
Damn it!
To do, so yeah.
What were you thinking?
I don't know.
You're supposed to clear the entire day for me, Will. I only use like 2 hours, but I need a full schedule.
Yeah, I feel like I've had like a weirdly busy, not busy set of days the last week. But you know, maybe I'll sneak out of it and do nothing but play WoW, which is already what I do. But I'll feel less busy while I do that.
Good.
So yeah.
Good. It's about making time for it, because then you're not busy with it.
Yeah. So we might talk about the Grand Blue characters next week, but I think for this week this has been a podcast, and I've been MetalMusicMan.
I've been Professor Lex.
And we will catch you guys later.